Welcome to Watch the Bookerman and to the 7th show of the Kurt Angle Heroes of Wrestling Australia tour, and I'm feeling a lot more positive about this show compared to the others. I know I've not set a really high bar so far with a series of really poor shows, but in the panic of not having enough stars, in the panic of the absolute disaster this tour has been, we have flown out somebody who is a major star. Not my words, the words in the game. The new perception system says that this person is our first signing who is a major star, well, Mick Foley and Kurt Angle, but besides them, the in-ring competitors, he is head and shoulders in popularity above anybody else in Australia. I'm going to go out and say that this will be our best show yet. Of course, setting myself up for something to go wrong, as it has done in pretty much every show so far, but we've got a title match, we've got a big match between Dashwood and Eagles, so I'm expecting this to be far and away our best show, as well as what I think will be an excellent main event. So let's get into it and see how it goes. And we start off with a pretty good segment, a lot of green notes there for Kurt Angle's introduction to the show, and he wants to bring out Zack Ryder. In the last couple of weeks, Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins have struggled, but Kurt says that Zack's performances have been some of the best of anybody on the roster, and he wants to reward him by putting him in the main event tonight. That match is a number one contendership match to Ryback's Hero of Australia Championship, and he will be facing a mystery opponent, that new signing, that big name who we've brought in, so that is going to be a big main event. But Rusev comes out, he cuts it off, he says no disrespect to Zack Ryder, but he got screwed out last week, he should have won the title, and as such, he is demanding a rematch with Ryback right now. Kurt Angle shrugs his shoulders, he agrees with Rusev, and since it's his tour, he's making that match right now. So there's some protestation, but Ryback can do nothing, he has to defend the title. I double checked that I put the title on the line, but it doesn't matter as the match ends in a disqualification. Rockstar Spud coming in with a steel chair and whacking Rusev as he set up for the accolade. A match rating that gets a green, something I'm not even sure if I've seen yet in TEW 2020. Rusev doing well again, Ryback okay, and it is a big opening match to start the show. After a solid segment, we get a hot crowd going into what follows, which is Ethan Carter joining in the attack, Rockstar Spud, Ryback, EC3 all laying in to Rusev when Aiden English runs from the commentary position to help him. He just gets flattened by the three men, and Ethan Carter joins the commentary team for the rest of the night. We then get a 8-man tag team match, Connor Victor and the Colons, who were attacked by the Essential Superstars last week. They face them and lose again. Mike Bennett picking up the pinfall over Victor with a box office smash. We're just further putting over this group that have been fairly dominant since they came together. The four most hated men in Heroes of Wrestling, although maybe Ethan Carter and Ryback are vying to take that position. A fairly average match, what you'd expect from these lot, and Chris Hero comes to cut a promo at the top of the ramp after the match. He's not stupid, he's not going to come and get beaten up by four guys at once, but he's desperate to get his hands on Mike Bennett, and the last show of the tour is on Sunday, and he wants Mike Bennett, and he can bring all his Essential Superstars because Chris Hero is going to have backup of his own. We then get a video package for Tenille Dashwood and Madison Eagles. This is a match that I've built to for quite a few shows now, and I do think it's going to be good and important enough to get a video package just showing Madison Eagles' series of victories. She even picked up a win in tag team action over Tenille Dashwood last week. Dashwood has seen herself as the star of the show and will be desperate to prove that she is better than Madison Eagles. And actually in the match, which gets an okay rating, Tenille Dashwood a little bit of a letdown. Madison Eagles, again, the best female performer we have, and probably only behind Rusev, I think, in terms of in-ring ratings, and the new signing. The new signing is going to get a better rating than 38, I'm sure of it. But Tenille Dashwood picks up the win with Summer Rae at ringside, distracting, attacking Madison Eagles and helping her on to victory in this match. We then get a on-screen promo from Mick Foley, who questions Tenille's tactics of winning, but she did get the win, and what's more important, she is qualified for a women's title match next week. Mick Foley will give more information on that on next week's show, but Tenille Dashwood will be competing for a women's championship on the last night of this tour, and that promo ends the first hour of the show. And I've just noticed as we go into the second hour that we're getting 334 people at the show now, so I don't know if that's to do with the region being smaller or having less people. I'm not sure about, I might be way off with that, I'm not 100% sure. It does reflect, I suppose, the decrease in viewership as the series has gone on. Night 1, I think we got 150,000 buys, and then on the last one we got about 50, so we've lost a hell of a lot of people who are watching this. But we do have a tag team match to kick off the second hour, and it's Gallows and Anderson picking up a dominant, decisive victory over Hawkins and No Way Jose. Just under 6 minutes for that. We wanted to use No Way Jose. Zack Ryder's otherwise occupied, so Kurt Hawkins has a new tag team partner, but doesn't find any success with him. After the match, Heath Slater and Rhino come out to confront the Good Brothers, whose actions have been questionable over recent weeks, particularly in their rivalry with Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, but they are jumped from behind by Eric Rowan and Eric Young, who get a jump start on their match up next, and we go straight into another tag team match. Slater and Rhino, equally as decisive as the Good Brothers were in the previous match, pick up a win over Insanity. Again, there's a fairly clear sort of divide of winners and losers on this tour. We've been going around the country, so it's not like the same people have seen Eric Young lose 4 or 5 times, so it doesn't matter too much in that regard. Obviously, the people watching the pay-per-view, maybe that's why they've turned off in their droves, because it is a little bit samey just seeing the same winners and the same losers, but we're trying to build up people, and I do think this last show, the 8th night of the tour, is going to build to a big final show that hopefully makes it all worth it. No Way Jose comes out for some reason to join the celebration of Heath Slater and Rhino. I think that I forgot that I'd put No Way Jose in that match and wanted to get him on the card, but you know, he's happy. He's just lost a match, but he's happy, so that's a good sign for him. Maybe just putting over what a happy-go-lucky character that he is. Mick Foley comes on the screen and he says that was a great win for Heath Slater and Rhino, and also he has to admit a great win for the Good Brothers earlier. That's why on the last show of the tour, the 8th show of the tour, as well as crowning a women's champion, as well as there being a men's championship match, there will also be a tag team championships match, and that will feature Heath Slater and Rhino and the Good Brothers. We then get the second last match of the night, and it's not a good match, but again, just getting everybody on the card. These three have been losing the majority of their matches. Crazy Mary had a good start to the tour, but her performances meant that we couldn't really be bothered continuing to push her. Madison Eagles, Tennille Dashwood became the priority, but we give the win to Erica Reed just because she's Australian. It's nice to at least get one win on the tour. She's put over quite a few people, so we give another win in what may or may not be her last match. I don't know if she'll appear next week. Maybe that'll be enough to have her added to the women's title match, but I am thinking just having it as Tennille Dashwood and Madison Eagles. I'm not 100% decided on that. I might just throw every woman in the match. We'll see what I decide to do, but Deonna may not be able to compete in that because she suffers a shoulder injury. Doesn't say that anybody was to blame, so no botch or anything like that. As we go into the pre-segment for the main event, Kurt Angle comes out to introduce Zack's opponent. He points to the back, but the man who we're expecting doesn't come out. Instead, debuting an awful gimmick, Ricardo Rodriguez comes out. There's confusion. Kurt Angle says, this isn't your opponent, don't worry. But of course we know that's not what it means. Ricardo Rodriguez is here instead to introduce the man who will be in the main event. A very, very good segment leading into the main event, so hopefully getting the crowd hot. Kurt Angle improvising well as Alberto El Patron makes his Heroes of Wrestling debut, and that is, I think, the best match we've seen so far. The 51 from Alberto El Patron, certainly the best performance of this tour so far, and he picks up a victory over Zack Ryder in 14 minutes and 38. These two were sent out to steal the show, and relative to the usual ratings we get, that is an impressive performance. He wins with a bridging German suplex, and it is officially added as the #1 contender. He will face Rusev and Ryback in a triple threat for the Hero of Australia Championship. It was mentioned in Kurt's promo before the match actually that due to the DQ, it's now a triple threat, the winner of this and those two men, because he didn't want to see Rusev get screwed out like that. After the match, the segment going on for, I made this 6 minutes. I meant to knock a minute off that. That's disappointing because that could really have helped the show even more, because Petroni's 50 overness in Australia, which is far and above anybody else who competes in ring for us. He would have probably got a promo the level that Kurt Angle's been getting, so a little bit of a mistake there, but other than that, the show has run pretty smoothly relative, like I said, to how it's gone throughout this tour. But he is coming for the title. He's the big star here. He cuts a heelish, arrogant promo. He was heelish during the match. He is definitely established as a heel, and we're just further stacking the odds against Rusev because Ryback has his whole posse behind him, Rockstar Spud and EC3. Alberto El Patron, of course, is the stud. He's a big star in the company, so Rusev certainly goes into that match as the underdog, and Alberto El Patron says that those two men better be ready because a real hero is here, a real champion is here, and Alberto El Patron is going to stand tall to end this tour. And it's a 42 rating, the best show we've done so far. Green is what we want to see. Not enough interesting storylines, that's fine. Possibly I could have put Alberto El Patron into the storyline and his segments would have boosted that up. Just little things I'm forgetting that could help us, but not too major of a problem. I'm happy with this show overall. Relieved to get a decent show finally, and we increase our popularity in 22 regions and we don't hurt ourselves in any way. I remember Rusev putting in a good performance in the opening match. I'll give Zack Ryder actually pointed out as a good example because he put over the newcomer Alberto El Patron, and El Patron will praise for a great performance because we've not seen a performance of that level on this tour so far. So proved, unless he has a big major incident between now and the final show, or if he gets sent home for whatever reason, he has definitely been a shrewd addition to the roster. It was a bit of a risk bringing in Alberto El Patron given that he's got a long rap sheet of incidents and things going on in his personal life, resulting in him leaving companies. I know his Impact run ended due to similar circumstances. WWE runs, he's a lot of baggage, but hopefully just by bringing him on the short term we should get away with it and avoid any serious incidents with Patron. And it's getting good feedback but even less viewers. Pay-per-view buy 71,000, so I think that is actually up from the last one. Alberto El Patron a draw, although I didn't announce him, so still a lack of big names, but there's definitely nothing I can do about it at this point. Rob Van Dam was the only other guy I could have brought in, and I considered it, but I'm not too enthused about Rob Van Dam at this point in his career. He's doing his thing at Deonna Purrazzo out for 2 months and 2 weeks. Yeah, I didn't want to bring Rob Van Dam in. I didn't have any plans for Deonna, so it doesn't matter too much. But it's that final show now coming on the following night, 24 hours after this event that I've just done. It's Sunday, week 1 of February, the 8th night of the Heroes of Wrestling tour, and I'm really looking forward to that show. We're going to have 3 title matches on it. Tenille Dashwood confirmed as a competitor in that. Heath Slater and Rhino versus Anderson and Gallows, the Good Brothers, for the tag team titles, and the huge main event, probably the 3 biggest in-ring competitors that we've got, Alberto El Patron, Ryback and Rusev, as well as the Essential Superstars. Everybody's going to be on that card, hopefully, even if we have to do a multi-man match to get the last remaining people on the show. But I'm really looking forward to booking that last show, and hopefully everything comes together for what has been a turbulent tour, and hopefully we can have a successful season finale and end this tour on something of a positive note.